Okay, so I want to start this conversation today. Hey everyone.
Hi.
Hello. We'll tell you guys about the tiny hands at some point, but right now we're just going to wear them. Um, we do have a
Hi.
choreographed dance that does involve the tiny hands.
Oh, I forgot about our dance. Yeah, it does have something to do with Mary Catherine. And yeah, want to hear funny stories. So, I did improv for the first time last year. And it was a Saturday Night Live skit. And so a client of mine and we submitted thinking Sally O'Malley was Mary Catherine. So we were thinking
Oh.
that we were doing the armpit and the
No,
smell.
you were doing
Sally
lunges and high
O'Malley
kicks.
was kicking, stretching, and kicking. So I had to completely change my character because I was really out of the loop. And anyway, it was Sally O'Malley, and it was really fun to put myself out there and do something totally different. But anyway,
I have saved that video because I feel like we're going to need to pull it up sometime. And I just like to point out that we seem like we're in a much better mood today
maybe
than
a little more
we were
energy.
last week. But you and I were talking earlier that, well, we had a topic planned and then we just decided to scrap it
We just
because
decided to shoot the shit because
we
that's what this is about. And we have
shooting the
not talked to
shizzle.
each other enough. And normally we talk every single day. So we have a
Yes,
lot to catch up on. We have a
we
lot.
do.
There's a lot going
We
on in the
do.
world. There's a lot going on in our lives. And we need to talk about it.
Yeah, we do. So I don't even know where to start, but maybe we should just greet everybody. You want to do the introduction so we can at least start the dance today?
Start the dance. You know what, Ricky? You're gonna have to start because I don't even have a script. We're just two 50-something-year-old chickadees that met and changed each other's lives. And it was like literally game changing. And we decided to change the world by hitting
Hitting
record
record.
and getting on this call and bringing some goodness to the world, some strategy to the world, some nonsense and shenanigans to the world. And yeah, and we are on episode 9.
I
And
know. It's
when
so
we hit 10 episodes, we are going live on all the podcast channels. Right now, we're on YouTube and we're live on LinkedIn. And we are really excited about that launch. We have hired our producer and we are ready to rock and roll and get this sucker out to the world because
Yeah.
more incredible people need to hear from us. And I thought this was interesting. I did some of the stats on YouTube, and actually we have a very significant male audience, which really surprised me. I was really shocked by that. So they might just be all of our buddies, but isn't that so great?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I love it.
I
I
mean, the word
absolutely love
skirt
it.
didn't scare them away. So let's go. Rock
No,
and roll.
I know.
Good
Well,
job.
as I tell everybody, tiny hands are matter, and you don't have to wear a skirt to show up. I mean, I am certainly not. In fact, I'm wearing Crocs, and I know this is shocking to a lot of people.
I don't know if we can be friends because
I
Crocs
know.
are seriously, don't ever tell my husband that you own a pair of
I
Crocs.
know. I
If your
know. I'm
Italian
not.
husband hasn't divorced you yet,
He
I
wears
hope.
them too.
Oh, do not. Reiner will
So
not be.
here's the thing. Okay, I have to say this. We have floors in this house, and I cannot walk around the floors barefoot because it hurts my back after a while. And I don't like to wear flip-flops all day, every day because it hurts my back. And I do have Birkenstocks that I love, but it's a little chilly here in Southwest Arizona. And the Crocs are only for in the house. They do not cross the threshold of the front door. They are not invited outside. They are inside shoes like house pants. And do you know about house pants?
Yeah, I
Right?
do.
Like those are the
I put my
sweats.
tiny hands down because I don't want to bang them anymore.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to put mine down
They're
too.
a really important prop in case I want to move my hair or anything. I'll pull it back up. But
Yeah.
okay, I'll forgive you. I just don't ever show up at my house with them or
I
in
won't.
public because I don't know that that I would really love that. Actually, I mean, I'm wearing UGG slippers when you work from home,
Well,
it
I
just
have
seems like
those
nonsense.
too.
Why would I wear regular shoes? And, frankly, I went to a wedding on Saturday and I put high heels on when I was testing
Mhm.
my outfits, and my ankles are so weak as a result of not wearing heels anymore. I wore them my
Right.
entire career. I could not walk. I had to change my entire outfit and shoe situation because I couldn't walk in them anymore. So anybody who is a size 8, there's some Jimmy Choos, some Prada babies in there. There is a whole plethora of goodness that will be going on
That need
Poshmark
a home.
that need a home because I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to put myself through that. So I did wear a beautiful pair of Pradas with a bit more of a kitten heel, and they were gorgeous. But the next day, I was even suffering for maybe 1 or 2 days after. So
Seriously?
sad. It's so sad because it looks so much prettier with a beautiful heel. But it is what it is. I'm gonna be
It is
wearing.
what it is. And I think that COVID, for many reasons, made us weak. So last night, Mara was traveling. I was home the last 2 nights by myself, which, doesn't happen very often. And I really enjoy it when I do. And I haven't been in the best headspace lately, as you know.
Yeah.
Just a lot going on. And this will be hopefully the last time with this background because we are moving in a week. So my everything is kind of up in the air. I'm living out of boxes. But I was home last week and I did some self-assessment stuff. And one of the things, I was just trying to look at like, why am I so anxious? Why am I not sleeping through the night? What is really getting my goat? It's not the Crocs and it's not your ankles and it's not that we've become weak, but there's a few things at play.
Okay.
One of them really is that I haven't been zhuzhing up at all. Like I have a closet full of beautiful clothes that I love that I schlep from this house to, when we go home for the summer in Seattle and to Seattle. And I don't wear anything. I wear a different pair of sweats, or today, I have on like my, spandex pants because I had PT this morning and I still haven't gotten out of them. And I'll put on a sweatshirt or a jean jacket. I mean, it's a wonder we're not matching today, but like, I don't put makeup on half the time. I rarely do my hair. I'm in Crocs. Like, I have really
Gone
let it
downhill.
go. And I will say this, our nonverbal communication is 70% of our communication. And I will tell you that I feel better today. I showered this morning. I actually washed my hair because we could not wash our hair yesterday because it was the welcoming of the year of the fire horse. And you cannot wash your hair because it washes away abundance and health and wealth. And we had to wear red. So I had on a ring yesterday and a shirt. So I washed it this morning. I zhuzhed up because I knew we were going to be online. And while I'm still in spandex, I'm going to tell you that my self-love has increased immensely today because I don't look like a,
Yep. Yeah.
rode hard and put away wet for the season. And I can't get my lighting to adjust
I
again.
never can get that saying. So thank you for that. When I think about riding hard, I think about my Harley. So I appreciate that. There's actually this funny t-shirt. If you've ever seen someone on the back of a Harley and and someone not on the back of a Harley, and the guy's t-shirt says, "If you can read this, the bitch fell off."
My favorite one is
what?
Gas, grass, or ass. Nobody rides for free.
Gas,
grass, or ass.
Nobody
rides for free.
It's a little.
I'd like to write a book about it.
A little raunchy.
A little raunchy.
But yeah.
Okay. That's so funny. So speaking of PT, because that's where my morning started. And I don't think I like going at 7:30 in the morning, but it was what was available because I'm traveling the rest of the week. Shocker, I know. But while I was at PT last week, I had this really, I don't know, ding, 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 light bulb went off. And I don't know why the lighting in here is not, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I was listening to this woman. I actually posted about it on LinkedIn this week, and I kind of wanted to talk about it with you because I thought it was just such an interesting thing that I was listening to this woman say, I'm not going to see you guys for a month or two because my insurance is up and I have to wait for it to restart again or whatever. And, she was not happy about it, but it just was the conversation. And then the physical therapist who she was working with said, well, let's just make sure that you have all your exercises, memorialized and that you'll keep doing them. And she said, oh, I'll absolutely keep doing them because I've made so much progress. And it was the same PT who was coming over to work with me after. And I said to her, I cannot believe that a third party is in charge of our care. Like I've had an MRI, I've seen an orthopedic surgeon, I've worked with you guys to hatch a plan, right? That I'm here 2 days a week and I do my exercises on 3 of the other days and I can do this and I can go back to the gym and there's all these things I can do. But insurance is going to tell me when I'm done with you. When the reality is you guys are monitoring me twice a week. So we know how much strength I'm building. And by the way, I have a herniated disc, L5S1. I feel 1,000 times better since I learned about this a month and a half ago. All of that. Go ahead.
I just want to interrupt you for a second because you said if, in my words, not yours, that when they say your sessions are up, that's if your insurance covers it at all.
That's if your insurance covers
it at all. And yes. The fact is, insurance does not love to support proactive preventative care. They prefer to support the pharma industry, which is really fascinating, interesting, because my husband, is European as yours is. And in Europe, the homeopathic approaches are so much more invited in. I'm on my way to India to do my Ayurveda annual tour, which, again, is a way to prevent ailments, prevent illness, and keep you healthy. So it's almost like our system doesn't want you to be healthy.
They really don't, because if they keep you sick, then big pharma profits from it. And I don't want to get into the political and the economic stuff here, but I will say this, that I was so frustrated. And I just looked at her and I said, because by the way, I have 25 business. I have 25 business. I have 25. I have 25 visits, right? Which, over the course, it's 12 weeks, more or less, 2 times a week. In theory, right? 3 months, 4 months, 4 months, I should be better. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to feel. My back is in really bad shape. Anyway, my point is this. We both run our businesses independently. There's no third party telling us how long we can work with a client or what's right. Obviously, ethically speaking, we're not milking them for money, right? We know what the right cadence is for our clients, and it's all based on the outcomes, right, that are driving the work that we do with them. And I just think if you think about PT or you think about preventative, proactive care, right, it's all about desired outcomes, yet there is a third party who doesn't give a crap about humanity in any capacity. It's all about making money, and they're going to tell us when we're done with our care, but I'm never going to, rely on a third party to tell me when I'm done with my clients. I can't even imagine. Anyway, I wrote a post about it this week. It's gotten pretty good traction. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself. It was good because normally, as a rule of thumb, I have a lot of opinions about a lot of things, but I try to keep it fairly neutral out in the professional world, right? Because I don't want to alienate anybody. My shadow self is I want to be liked. I don't want the tiny hands to be taken away from me. I don't want to lose my privileges. So anyway.
So you were shocked by the engagement and response. It's interesting. You never know what the algorithm is going to pick up, right? So for people that go viral on different channels, there's been times where you and I have both gone viral. I did a video now almost 3 weeks ago that is still getting an insane amount of traction. And it was about surprise PIPs, surprise performance improvement plans.
Will you put that? Make sure we put these in the show notes.
Yeah, I will link it. It's on TikTok. It has gone bananas. The amount of people who have reached out to say that this just happened to them, that their boss never gave them any pre-indication. They went from hero to zero, like unbelievable the amount of people and the amount of people jumping on and having a coffee with me and seeing how I can potentially help them. And it was a more controversial post than I would normally do because I was
Yeah.
fired up and I was like, come on, this is now an epidemic. Like, stop it with the surprise pips, people. How is HR allowing that, first of all? And as a former CHRO, that, I ran a pretty tight ship. I would never allow a leader to just go right into a pip. I would be educating and coaching the leader.
Right. Of course.
And
of course.
so, there was a couple people that went like, well, HR is not so bad. I'm like, I know I was HR. I'm not bashing anyone, but it was more of a stronger video than I would normally do, to your point. And it similarly has really taken off. And then so subsequently follow-up videos, what do you do if you have a PIP? Somebody wrote, well, that's nice and all, but what are we supposed to do about it? I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it was just really me venting, like, this is now ridiculous. Like, come on, people.
Right.
And so I did a follow-up video, which was not triggered by that comment, but some of the comments are really funny when people decide.
I love it. I haven't even seen it. So you're not showing. It's on TikTok. That's why.
Yeah, I think I pulled it over to the other channels. It didn't get the same traction on the other channels, but yeah, you just don't know. You just gotta speak your truth and do what feels right. And if that's on your mind, then share it. I felt similarly about the newsletter that I wrote around just everything happening in the world, specifically around Minnesota. And for me, it wasn't about a political stance. It was about how can I help guide leaders when the world is spiraling. What is your job as a leader? How can you create space to have these conversations with your people? And I got absolutely incredible response from that as well. But it's, it's scary to put a statement out or to say something because you don't want to get canceled. You don't want people to to misinterpret. But, again, you and I both know there's only two things you can control: how you show up and how you treat others. And the rest is not up to us. So we just do our best.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because I will say this, I'm playing with my brightness controls. I will say this, like when I first started even on social media, can we talk about this for a minute? Because I think this is it's interesting to think about. Like when I first started on social media, I had a Facebook account, right? And this is back in the early 2000s, whenever, I don't know, 2012, let's say. And I got rid of it. That was the gift to myself. By the way, it's back because of Facebook Marketplace, because I got a lot of stuff I got to sell because we're moving. But I didn't want to put myself out there even to make comments about like, this is so, I cannot control. I can't. StreamYard, I need your help.
People listening can't see you. No worries. People are watching.
What I will say is this, that you're right. We can't control how people respond to us. We're putting out there what's on our mind. I think there's so much learning and experience that we have had over the years. And now I feel it's incumbent on me to share it, right? So that conversation that I heard at PT last week, the thing that really struck me is that part of the reason I started my own company is because I don't want anybody telling me what to do or how to run my business or what clients I'm talking to or who I get to work with and how I get to work with them or questioning, my methodologies. Now, if my clients do it, that's a completely different story because we are in it together and it's a partnership.
Yeah.
But, I always worked for somebody up until 2022. And now the thought of it drives me crazy. And I just parlayed that. Right. I could feel the tension while we were having this conversation at PT, that it just felt like it needed a place to go. And now, quite honestly, if people don't like what I have to say, fine. If they don't respond, fine. If they're judging me, fine. Even better. Go for it. You're not my people anyway.
Ricky, did you just go down a rabbit hole about Facebook and then forget what you were going to say about Facebook? Or was it Just
No, no,
about
no. It was about social media. I went back on
social
Facebook.
media.
I just went back on Facebook
Got it.
because
Facebook Marketplace. Got it. I just wanted to
Facebook
make sure we
Marketplace.
didn't miss something there.
No,
Not to
thank you.
say that you
Thank you for.
scroll, not to say that you scroll because, we both do. Whoops, we both do quite often in our conversations. But what else do we got? What else do we want to talk
Oh,
about?
I have a list. So one of the things that I think is I don't know, there's a lot going on in the world. We have a lot to say in social media. We have a lot to say on this podcast. But I just had a coffee chat with someone from the Outlier Project who showed up for my power hour that I did last month. And it's funny because I couldn't remember why I was getting on the phone with her. I didn't remember where I knew her from. And as soon as she got on the phone, I had just connected to her on LinkedIn, which is bad form because normally I'll do a little deep dive before, a little low key stalking, as I like to call it. We had a great conversation. We're both growth strategists. We both work kind of with the same type sizes of companies, but we come at it from different angles. She comes from more of a human performance perspective. I come at it more from a brand growth strategy perspective. Obviously, the goal is still to grow the company no matter how you get there. And there's a lot of us who do this work and we all do it differently. But I asked her, we were talking about what is the thing? Why do you do this? What's the purpose of it? Mine is always to make impact because I worked with all of those large companies. And she comes from big pharma, ironically. So it's funny that we're talking about that. I come from packaging and big food and big brands. And she said, all I want to do is just be able to build back the humanity in people. And it was such a lovely phone call. It was such a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
And it just felt so good. And, as you know, this morning when we were texting about 5 a.m. my time about today's topic, I just wasn't having it. I wasn't feeling great. I'm not in the best mood. I didn't sleep well. I had a headache. My stomach was bothering me. And I feel like each conversation I've had today has been like these little bright spots. And it makes me just remember about the humanity that's out there in the world, even though there's all this
Humanity and
shit.
connection and relationships. I think that, I remember being a corporate girly and not ever really thinking about my external network. So I think about
Right?
the life that I had was everyone was within in the companies that I worked. I didn't create that space. And now as a business owner, and look, I teach my clients this as well. Networking is one of the most important things you can do. 80% of jobs are found that way. And whether that be a referral to a potential business partner for you or
Right.
me or client or whatever, or a job, it is so important that we are creating the space to meet new people and to build great new relationships because you never know what
You
you're going to.
never know. You never know.
It could be, and for us, it was a new best friend. For others, maybe there's a dud here and there, but for the most part, it is interesting and it's so fascinating to see what other people have created in the lives that they are building and how we can support and complement and lift each other up. And I would have never thought of that before becoming a business owner. So it's pretty cool. So even if you are a corporate girly, a corporate person, there's so much space for you to open up, to meet new people that are not at all in your space, to see how they might change your
Right.
life and vice versa.
It's funny. I love that you said that because one of the things about today and this week in particular is I am up to my eyeballs in deliverables for clients. The move and everything that has to happen in all of those transactions. I am completely, totally overwhelmed. That is no question. And what I tend to do when I'm overwhelmed is I recede so I can just focus and I stop getting interrupted. And I haven't been able to finish anything that I needed to finish this week. So I did cancel all of my meetings that are more about networking after this filming today. But there was this one in between that I, was between a client meeting and writing a proposal and delivering the proposal and then getting online with you. And I don't know, for some reason, I was just like, I'm not canceling it. There's some there for some reason. I had no idea why. I couldn't remember how I knew her. I mean, once we got on the line, it was very clear how we knew each other and why. But holy cow, like sometimes you just, we've talked about gut and intuition. It was such a great call. And a lot of those calls, what, like you said, while they might not turn into business or a partnership, maybe it turns into a friend, maybe it turns into somebody who refers you, whatever it
Or
is. Like
someone
I
that needs
just,
to remind you about humanity. Someone that
right.
needs to remind, just that you needed that reminder. Who knows? You could have given her something, she gave you something. And even if it's nothing else beyond that, you needed that reminder in that moment, whether that be. So we can talk about it today so the world can hear how
Yes.
very small things that you can do for each other, for your community, for just doing your part and showing up as a great human, even just a good human. Let's start there. It can be life changing for people. And that's
Yes.
it.
It's very true. It's very true. So let's talk about something that I'm curious. I want to know, and I'll tell you about my conversations this week because I've had some very interesting conversations on your coffee chats. What are you guys talking about? What are the topics? What are the things that you've walked away with this week? Or in the last, let's just say, since we last filmed, which was last Wednesday.
So I take about 20 to 25 a week. So
Mhm.
it is the primary source of how I run my business. And most of them are through referrals or through, saw my post, saw something online, wanted to connect. I have open coffee chats with everyone. So most of my conversations are about people in situations that they want to get out of. Not
Mhm.
happy in my role. My boss is toxic. My company is toxic. I've just been laid off. How can you help? So most of mine are around career transition, but there are times where I'm meeting with other business owners and other coaches that we get to share. How are you running your business? What are you doing to streamline? How are you refining your processes? Who are you using? Do you use a lead source? Who are you using for your CRM? Because I'm a solopreneur like you, we can get caught up in our own stuff. And so getting on a call with someone and like, I'm facing this as a business owner. What do you think? It's one of the things that I would say has just been really interesting, that my corporate friends have dropped out of my life a little bit more from a
Mhm.
constant, right? So they're not in my life quite as much. And the people who are in my life are people who are like you, other colleagues, other friends who are building businesses and growing and scaling businesses. And how do we hold each other accountable? How do we help each other grow?
Right.
So I have a few of those calls a week as well. But we're not talking politics. We're not talking what's happening in the world. They're usually really pouring their hearts out to me. And the fact that I get to be in this position to be able to help them make an impact, change their lives, and give them hope is truly the best job that I could have ever created for myself, that I never knew I was going to create for myself. And here we are.
Right. I know. If somebody told me that I was going to be doing this now, I would have been like, "Really? I don't think so. I'm not going to do that. I'm always going to work for somebody." And it's been the greatest gift ever. Plus, we got each other out of it. So there you go. Part of the reason I asked you is a little bit self-serving, but I also want to know like what you're out there talking about. The 20 to 25 coffee chats a week, like that's impressive, and it makes me think I'm not doing enough. Um, Regardless, that's not the point. The conversations that I've been having the last week or so, obviously around insurance, but also a lot of ex-colleagues of mine who are still looking for work. Um, and that has been really interesting because it's kind of all levels
Yeah.
from, 20 somethings, 30 somethings, 40 somethings that are all still kind of not really clear on their journeys or what to do or what does it mean to hire a recruiter, or can you introduce me to this person, or can you take a look at this thing? And I feel like there's themes. It's almost like it's an algorithm that
I feel like the theme is that you should be introducing them to your bestie, Carrie Lynn Shaw, who could actually help
well,
them.
I
And
know that that's already done, but like,
um, they're
I
feeling a
get
little lost, you mean?
a little lost, like don't know how to go to what's next.
Yeah.
And it's been since a couple of them have been since like the end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
taking
really,
longer.
it's
It is
taking
to find your
longer.
next role, and people aren't doing it strategically because they haven't had to in the past. They've called their network, or recruiters called them, because you can't
Yeah,
hire recruiters proactively. Very few
right.
recruiters do that. So you have to wait for somebody to tap you. They don't know how to navigate their network effectively and strategically. They haven't kept up with their network. Not everybody keeps their network up
Right.
like you do. They, then calling up your network to say, I need a job, doesn't sound quite as beautiful, and you feel a little bit grabby. So there's a lot of reasons why it's taking longer, and they're spending more time going down a rabbit hole, posting for jobs online and crossing their fingers that the HR ATS system
Right.
picks up their resume, which is not happening. So you have to spend more time networking, and people don't know how to do that. They don't have personal brands. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why. And
They have social anxiety, right?
Yes, it is
All
exactly
of
why I
it.
love this business. And then there's a whole other side of it, Ricky. They don't know how to tell their story. There's no storytelling component, which is, tell me about yourself, and they regurgitate their resume. That's not what the person on the other side wants to hear.
Right.
They want to hear your story, your journey, what brought you to where you are today. So, I think a lot of people are doing what they've done before, which is not working today. And so that's a big challenge. And I'm not surprised. It is also just taking longer, even with the right strategy. I don't guarantee that we find you a job in 3 months and working together, but you certainly then have that flywheel popping, and you are able to figure out what you want next. And then there's people who are just doing something that they think they're supposed to do next based on their experience, and they haven't done the internal work to say,
Right.
well, this is actually what really lights my fire and what I'm really good at. And like, create a business like you or I did. I help a lot of clients stand up businesses too. So it's digging in and actually knowing who you are and what you want, and being courageous enough to take some risks and start having different conversations.
It really is. I mean, I love having the conversations. Don't get me wrong. This is not, this is not a complaint in any capacity. I'm just fascinated that, like, it feels like those types of conversations have been piling up on each other for the last few weeks with people. And then of course it makes me think for a second, do I need to be looking for a job? Is that what I should be doing?
No, the
Which
reminder
answer
for
is
you,
no.
no, not
The
at
answer is
all.
no. I
No.
have talked to a few people though. That's funny. I have talked to a few people that have said, they're doing their solopreneur entrepreneur thing,
Fractional,
building a
yeah.
company, and then they're kind of crashing out, as my kids would say. And they think they need to start looking, like, I've got to start looking for a job. I've got to start looking for
That's
a
a
job.
scarcity mindset, Ricky. That
It is.
is not strategic. It's a scarcity mindset because they
Right.
haven't found the business, or they're not doing the work. Like, my business coach will talk to me about, if you don't do your daily marching orders, if you don't have like things that you do every single day, and you are not putting in the reps, you're not going to find the clients. You are not going to,
Right.
find what it is.
It's a long game. It's not there's no silver bullet
There's no
anymore.
silver bullet, and maybe it's not even a long game. For me, it wasn't a long game. It was a strategic, like, put in the reps, do the work. And for a very, like, 3 months, 4 months, I shut out the entire world to build this business. I said to everyone in my life, I ain't playing. This is either going to be a viable business or it's not. And I had to go all in, because if I am one thing, it is someone who goes all in. I don't do anything half-assed.
Let me remind you who you are. The rabid baller.
I'm a rabid baller.
We have not brought that up in a long time.
We haven't talked about rabbit balling in a long time. No, but this is true. So the point is, maybe they don't have the right people around them. There could be all sorts of circumstances. Maybe it's not the right product offering. Maybe it's not exactly what they should be doing. Like, there's lots of things, but the scarcity mindset is, go back to what you consider as safe. And no employer is safe anymore. First of all, we were never safe. We're an at-will country here in the US. So you can quit at any time, and they can fire you at any time, and there's no protection for you. So even silly things, and I know this sounds like a really basic and elementary, but I talk to all of my clients about this before they work with me, which is, what is your financial runway? And if you don't have a 12-month runway, you are not set up for success. And that is whether you're a W-2 employee, whether you're 1099, if no more business came in or you were without a job tomorrow, you need a 12-month plan to be able to cover your bills and your lifestyle. Or like, that's a scary place to be, or you're going to have a scarcity mindset. And 12 months is minimum, by the way. My daughter, 23 years old, we've had this conversation.
Right.
What do you have in your bank account? Because she doesn't have massive responsibilities yet, but you have to be able to sustain your life and your bills for 12 months, or you freak out and you panic. And nobody wants a panic situation. First of all, you know that I'm a negotiator and help people negotiate. You cannot negotiate from a scarcity mindset. Good luck. And you can't look for a job from one either, because people are going to know you're desperate, because it oozes out of you. We want you in this place of peace and confidence and knowing your worth and knowing your value and knowing how to articulate it, because you will show up so different in your networking calls, in your interviews, and in your negotiation.
Yeah. I love it. And you're reminding me, like, my next call should have been to you after each of these calls this week and last week.
Yeah, no, just send them my way. It's a pleasure to work with, and not everybody is going to be my jam, or I'm not going to be everybody's
or
jam.
You're not going to be there. Right.
At just, to give them some hope. These coffee chats, I also give. They don't have to become a client to support them.
Right. And I love that. And that's a really good reminder. I'm so glad I asked this question today, because I think it's just an important one, and it's been on my mind. It's funny. I guess sometimes, because we're such good friends, like, I sort of forget what you do for a living, and maybe you forget what I do for a living too, which is great, because to your point about the conversations and the humanity and all of that, like, we don't just talk about work. We don't just talk about politics. We don't just talk about religion. We don't just talk about travel, which I have a question for you about travel. But I love that sometimes I don't even remember what you do for a living, because it doesn't.
You know what? I want to pivot that question back to you, because I want to know what, think about proposals and pitches and, business that you are having conversations with. Is there a trend or a theme that you're seeing that is either having them say yes or say no? What are you seeing out there?
I am seeing lots of ghosting and lots of not overt no's. I think this is the conversation I had with this woman before we got on the podcast. But there is a lot of ghosting. There's a lot of disrespect, right? Relationships, and I talk about this all the time, are built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. And I'm seeing and hearing, so experiencing personally, and then also hearing out in the world, that this is rampant right now, especially in this consulting world. And I'm going to confess something, that you referred somebody to me, and we went back and forth in our DMs for a while. And I'm realizing that as I'm saying this out loud, that I've completely ghosted her, and I need to get back to her, because I just lost the thread.
So ghosting doesn't mean that somebody is doing something with malintent. It is simply
not at all. But
and you then make up a story in your head about that person ghosted me. And there's a part of that. My word of the year is release, and releasing the outcome and having certainty that the right people will come back. The right people will know, you will know. And it is just trust the process. But I think the ghosting element on the business side that you're talking about is happening desperately also on the job market side. People are talking about it everywhere. Just be honest. Like, if I'm not the right fit, just let me know. And if it's not the right time and we should regroup again, just let me know, so that you're not holding space for people in your agenda. You're managing a lot of stuff here. And like, if I'm going to think about creating space for you, please let me know sooner than later, so I can open up that slot for someone else.
Exactly.
Or same thing, jumping on my calendar. It's like, if you don't show up, like, I used to get really triggered by it. I'd be like, how rude. You booked the meeting. It's in your hands. And people be like, oh, I didn't see the invite. It's like, it's not even coming from me. It's coming from an electronic source. search your emails. If you book a meeting, come on.
Yeah. And
But I
in
don't get
fairness, I forgot to accept when
Mhm.
stuff comes, when I've scheduled it, I've forgotten to accept and I've missed them. But I hear you loud and clear. I used to get really triggered by it too. I was very triggered over the weekend that I'd sent an email last week and there was no response. The response came in yesterday. This person has a lot going on, but I'm working on that. And it's funny because my word of the year, my intention is ignite, right? I want to light shit on fire. And I'm feeling it's such a good question. And
Did
thank
you
you
know
for
it was the year of the fire horse?
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know when I picked the word, but my hair is clean today, as is yours.
Double
Um,
whammy. Like, holy
Mhm. Yep,
fire.
I
Okay.
know.
Sorry, I
My
distracted you.
husband and my daughter are golden dragons, by the way. So it's very, I love these
What does that
like
mean?
they were conceived and born in the year of the dragon, which makes them a golden dragon. I love these, like, I love that this is a year of the fire horse because it's sometimes just the horse, right?
Oh, it's
Um,
very exciting. So, okay, coming back to calendars. So you're triggered by when people don't respond. That is really important though, because
right.
coming back to release and coming back to certainly and trusting the process that it's, look, I
There's a
mean, you and I
reason.
talk about this. We attract, we don't chase. And that's the same just from a mindset perspective, because I think when you chase, you sometimes chase the things that are not actually meant for you. I can't tell you how many clients have said yes to jobs knowing that it wasn't the right role for them, but they were in a
Right,
scarcity mindset. Or,
right.
like when you are fully aligned and then you align yourself with whatever that is, whether that be a future partner for you, whether it be a future client, whether that be a potential job opportunity, you have to be in the right place, in the right mindset.
You do. And it's funny. It's such a great question. I'm so glad you asked me the same thing. I'm not there right now. I'm a little cranky and snarky and my feelings are hurt. And I think it's playing into how I wake up and feel in the morning. When you ask me how I am today and what we're going to talk about, um, I I need a little well, we talked about recovery last week, which I think was
Yeah.
so great, and I think I need a little recovery and a little step away, and it was nice to be alone for a couple of days because I was able last night to not turn on the TV, to not have a conversation with anybody. I also forgot to eat dinner because I was really sort of into this moment of figuring out what's eating at me and why am I feeling so victimy and tired and headachy and shitty. And part of it was washing my hair and just getting ready today. But there's other pieces of it too that you and I have been
So
talking
instead
about.
of eating dinner, you ate popcorn.
I ate the popcorn at like 3.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I didn't eat it instead of I ate it at 3 and then I just wasn't hungry again. And then
I've read that popcorn is the hardest thing for your body to
it
digest. So I
is
stopped eating popcorn, but then I talked to Dr. Iris Crawford and she said, no, it wasn't Dr. Iris. It was someone else that said, no, popcorn
the
is okay.
hormone boss.
The hormone boss, the badass boss. We didn't talk about hormones today, but so what would, so you're in this place, you're in a little bit of a funk. My words, not yours. What does release or letting go look like for you to be able to
Yeah,
move
I think
forward?
it's there's some degree of stepping away. There's some degree of writing, what I have control of, what I don't have control of. I need to make some changes in a few areas. I already know what they are. You and I talked about them earlier. And they were really abundantly clear last night, which was beautiful because what this moment in time is also allowing me to do while I'm whiny and cranky, it's also unlocking something and peeling away things that I've probably been building up. And it's starting to come clear. What I do know is I need more quiet time. I am actually going away this weekend. I have a very, very, very dear friend that is in the middle of a family crisis. And there's 3 of us who are traveling up to the Bay Area to support her. And while I won't really have alone time, I will have time away. And I find that when I'm out of my own element and out of the routine, that things become abundantly clear. And the fact that I'm so uncomfortable right now about so many things that I know something's happening. And, yesterday was the Chinese New Year and the, welcoming in the year of
Shedding
the fire
snake
force.
is, yeah.
And there's a lot of shedding. And I think, you don't go from shedding to then immediately into what next is, right? There's the blending of those days that come together when you're making that transition. And I hadn't really thought about it that way until we started talking about it. And I think it's really important for us to remind each other when these things are going on, because you and I have talked about this before as well as it pertains to you. I mean, it's kind of where you were when we met.
Yeah.
And I find myself I'm feeling a little untethered. And I know it's because stuff is in boxes everywhere, but that, having this friendship and building relationships that create those tethered moments and remind you why you exist, who you are, what are the great things that you bring into the world, and then asking questions that I hadn't necessarily thought of. And you asked me a couple questions before we got on the air that I was like, I got to think about those. And you're not wrong. And you were worried about offending me, and certainly not offended. Like, those are the questions that we have to be asking each
Yeah.
other.
I wasn't really worried about offending you.
I know, but you were concerned about how you frame it up. And I think in order to get forward momentum, we have to peel away the stuff that's holding us back. And sometimes many times we cannot do it on our own. And we have to have the people that are like helping us shed. Right.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So my massive breakthrough and crack open was in 2024. I don't even recognize the woman in 2024 to today. I don't even recognize her. I will never, it's like so far in the past, like it's like literally cracked open. So that's the beautiful part when you're in a tough place. But you said something about space away or time away. And what I find now specifically, and I think that whether I was in an employee, corporate setting or not, as a solopreneur, I'm here at my desk all day, every day. And it is just go, go, go. To be able to create space to have strategy time and to have time to just be is really limited because I've got my daily marching orders. I am hustling. I'm working every single day to continue to flow and build this business. So I am taking 3 days away at the end of March to go to a mastermind with 100 other founders. And I'm super excited about it because it is going to, I listened to a podcast about in 2 years, AI is going to basically, we're all going to be out of a job. So I was like, maybe, I'm going to take some time away to think about how does AI not replace me, and just how do I incorporate AI into my business even more than I do today? And just what does the future look like? And how do I continue to grow and scale and not have to be all of my energy because I'm the brand? So very excited about that. And then 3 days after I get back from that, I just booked my trip to India, my annual India trip, which I'm so excited about because then I can take that and I can download that 3 days and then have the mental freedom and capacity without being on calls and calls and calls and calls and calls, to have 2 weeks then to really create this and think, and also not think, and see what juices start flowing and what creative things happen. So very excited about all those great things to come, and just to be in a position to be able to consciously say yes to that and give myself that. I think a lot of people don't do that. So I think it's a nice reminder. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I'll wrap up by saying I love that. And one of the things that I've installed into my routine is that in the fall, I come down here to Arizona and spend 2 to 3 weeks by myself. I was inspired by your trips to India. I was inspired by our friend Nicole Green, who does it in this, she does a couple weeks in the summer, and a variety of other women, really. And even one of my clients, he also does it. He takes a week or two twice a year and goes and sleeps in the back of his truck and just ponders the way of the world. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. If we're going to interview someone, and he will hate this, I would love to have him on the show. He's a phenomenal human being, and I feel so lucky. They were a partner vendor of mine when I was in the agency, and then he and his partner hired me to coach them on growing their organization. And I've been with them for almost the entire time I've had my business.
Well,
And I think
that's not
what?
luck. That is not luck.
No, no, no. That is
That is who you are. That is who you attract. That is the
right.
kind of quality human that you are. So don't ever say it's luck.
It's not luck. It's trust, respect, and shared purpose. It's a relationship. But I will say that time alone to process is really, really important. And if we can leave anyone with anything from today's session, is remember to take care of yourself and remember to tap into the people who love you and care about you and can help you unlock and peel away the layers that are keeping you from doing what you are supposed to be doing. And I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for just wanting to switch gears today. I feel like we've had a day of conversations about a variety of different things, and it's really important. And the magic of this podcast is that we get to do that together.
I love it. We'll keep shooting the shit in a skirt, and let's not wait till next week to catch up.
Yeah, for sure. Love you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.